Family is once again in the spotlight, with Prince Harry airing his grievances to the world after losing a security battle.
I can't see a world in which I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point.
News today, royal news that is. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan will no longer use their royal titles and will no longer get public money for royal duties. The Queen released the bombshell statement just moments ago, which says, quote, following many months of conversations and more recent discussions, I'm pleased that together we have found a constructive and supportive way.
Titles after a royal racism row. Tory MP Bob Seely is seeking to change the law after the Dutch version of a new book named King Charles and the Princess of Wales as the two royals who
once the embodiment of royalty, they are now exiles, displaced by the very institution that once elevated them. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle wagered everything on their roles as royal renegades, challenging the crown from within. But now, the monarchy has delivered its final verdict. There will be no graceful retreat this time. With King Charles and the House of Lords formally revoking Harry's remaining titles and privileges, the final threads binding him to the royal legacy have been severed. What was once a gilded crown has crumbled into the hard reality of self-reliance.
Independent life. I want to thank them for all their dedicated work across this country, the Commonwealth and beyond. And I'm particularly proud of how Meghan has so quickly become one of the family. It is my whole family's hope that today's agreement allows them to start building a happy and peaceful life. And Buckingham Palace also released a
This wasn't done behind closed doors. It wasn't a quiet decision tucked away from public view. It was overt, intentional, and impossible to overlook. King Charles III, with the full weight and backing of the House of Lords, has formally stripped Prince Harry of every royal title and privilege once tied to his name. No more, His Royal Highness. No honorary military appointments. No vestiges of official royal status remain.
Many of us have been talking about for several days. This is really a full royal resignation from the royal family. They started out with their position last week that they were going to continue to be working members at some extent. This statement makes clear that they will not be. It affects a number of the issues that have been in the public discussion in the last few days. It makes clear.
This wasn't a cautionary gesture. It was a declaration, unflinching, calculated, final. The monarchy did not hesitate. This time, there is no room for reversal. No door left ajar for reconciliation. This was not merely another episode in the long-running saga between father and son. This was the crown drawing a line in the sand, defending its very foundations.
William to finally deal with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Radar Online is reporting that the Prince of Wales plans to strip Harry and Meghan of their Sussex title when he becomes king. Hallelujah!
Once hailed as the bold, modern face of the royal family, Prince Harry has now made history, for all the wrong reasons. He stands as the first royal in the modern era to be formally and completely severed from the institution. This wasn't merely a personal rupture. It was official, institutional. He didn't quietly step away from royal life. He was pushed, by law, by royal protocol, and by a monarchy no longer willing to bend. Behind palace walls, patience had long since frayed. In the public eye, the response came swift and without sentiment. The message could not be clearer: loyalty to the crown is not negotiable, and not even a prince, born of royal blood, is beyond the reach of consequence.
Appointments, that money will be repaid for Frogmore, which had been a huge source of issues in the United Kingdom, and that they most definitely would not be receiving any further public funding for their royal lives.
I'm just taking a look at the statement from the Queen. That first line there is one that we're all scratching our heads about, Richard. Following many months of conversation.
This decision didn't appear out of thin air. It is the inevitable climax of years of mounting strain, a volatile blend of public disloyalty, private contradictions, and political unease that the monarchy could no longer afford to tolerate. The pressure had been simmering behind palace gates and when it finally erupted, the rupture was total. There was no room left for compromise, no path back to what once was.
Fascinating. I would argue bombshell reporting from Radar Online, who are doing really good work lately. They report ruthless Prince William. By the way, I don't agree with their characterization of Prince William as ruthless. I would argue he's just being sensible. But anyway, they say ruthless Prince William is eagerly awaiting the day he'll be crowned Britain's next king, as he's raring to.
When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sat down with Oprah Winfrey in 2021, they detonated a cultural and constitutional shockwave. It marked one of the darkest and most destabilizing public moments for the royal family in a generation. The interview was no mere tell-all, it was a bombshell. allegations of racism within palace walls, claims of emotional neglect and institutional indifference. What emerged wasn't just personal grievance, it was a narrative that struck a raw nerve across the nation, echoing through the public conscience and shaking the monarchy's global image to its core.
Out of line again. The removal would require an act of parliament, but those in the know say the palace has already called several secret meetings to discuss the possibility and put an actionable plan in place. The royals are absolutely furious that Meghan continues to flaunt the Sussex title for her and Harry's own self-gain. An insider confirmed to Radar Online, when King Charles does pass away, it's a certainty that William will pull the trigger and strip her and Harry of their HRH status. Now, they also report that Harry's in trouble. He misses his family terribly, but no one is speaking to him anymore, which was, of course, reporting which
the monarchy braced for the fallout. Unlike past royal scandals, quietly buried or expertly contained, this one defied control. It could not be dismissed as mere family friction or internal dysfunction. These allegations struck at the heart of the institution itself. They didn't just challenge individual reputations, they cast a shadow over the monarchy's integrity, its moral authority, and the values it claims to uphold.
Came out, it really seemed that this was something Harry and Meghan had been discussing, made the announcement, and then there was that emergency meeting that happened. So walk us through that a little bit there. Do you think this was something that they had been discussing with the Queen for quite some time now, but perhaps the announcement was just what the breaking news part about that was, but this was something that was going to happen in any case?
I think that's exactly what the case was. There's no doubt.
In many ways, the Oprah interview reshaped the entire royal narrative. It shifted the story from a tale of personal grievance to a full-blown public reckoning, a crisis of trust that reverberated not only across Britain, but around the world. Then came Spare. More than just a memoir, Prince Harry's book tore through the veil of royal decorum. He didn't just hint at palace dysfunction, he named names, detailed events, and dismantled the myth of a united monarchy. He alleged favoritism, simmering rivalries, and even physical altercations within the royal household. No one was spared. Not his brother, Prince William. Not his stepmother, Queen Camilla. Not even his father, King Charles. To Harry, the firm was no longer family. It had become something else entirely, a machine, cold and unforgiving, that chewed through even its own.
To him anymore, which was, of course, reporting which really stunned us earlier in the week. Brittany, wow. Obviously, there has been a feeling that Charles probably doesn't want to go nuclear. He's always been a...
For the palace, Spare was a red line crossed. The silence that followed its release was not a gesture of agreement, nor an act of forgiveness. It was something far more telling, a cold, calculated signal that Prince Harry had violated the monarchy's most sacred rule, discretion. Behind the grandeur of palace walls, alarm bells rang. This was no longer a rebellious prince finding his voice, it was a full-scale breach of royal protocol. A point of no return. Then came the Netflix docuseries, a slick, emotionally charged production crafted to present Harry and Meghan's truth to the world. But to Britain's traditional establishment, it was something far more unsettling. Not a heartfelt explanation, but a monetized spectacle, a public airing of royal grievances dressed up for global consumption. To them, it wasn't just an act of self-expression. It was an act of betrayal.